before I was experienced in a bunch of other places, growing up in Cleveland, growing up in Georgia, growing up in the country, then the city. And then, by the time I was 18, I had already experienced so much, but I knew that I needed to move on from Cleveland based off of what I saw the adults around me doing, based off of what some of my older friends were already doing. And I knew I didn't want a regular job, so I enlisted in the Army.
Wow. Foster care. That's heavy, man. That's heavy.
Yeah. A lot of people don't experience that, right? And people that do don't see this kind of success. And that's not, a lot of people say that's what drives me to this day. That's what makes me, that had no impact on what I'm doing today at all, right? It just made it more challenging to talk to people growing up. It just was, I never had confidence issues from that stuff. It wasn't something that drug me down. It was just something that happened to me.
That's insane. Would you what lessons from that childhood did you learn that you bring into your adult life, do you think?
Being able to adapt.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then the Army doubled down on that, right? So I moved around a bunch as a kid. I moved around a bunch as an adult being in the Army. So my transition while I was in the Army was very easy because I had already lived in this city, this state, this part of the country, this part of the world. And then when I joined the Army, within 1 year, I was already deployed to Afghanistan. So, I was already used to this lifestyle of moving around a lot, not having everybody around, just one or two people that you can count on. And that was a lot of what the Army was. So my adjustments as a young adult were not that hard for like it was for some people that are crying overseas because they miss their family. They're not used to this hard lifestyle, right? So the deployment's a lot harder for them. For me, I was like, hey, this is what we're doing today. Let's just keep working, right?
Let's run it.
Yeah, let's run it.
Yeah. So were you in gangs and stuff? Like, and you ever arrested, cops getting involved? I mean, stuff like that?
No, I never got really in any trouble. Some little dumb stuff, but nothing ever that was a police record. I was never in any gangs. I always just kept away from that stuff. I knew it wasn't right? It was part of my upbringing where I'd get off the bus and there are gangs around. I got in a lot of fights, right? Growing up, that was the culture in Cleveland. You just be like, you were just a fight. Everyone fought every day. And you think it's normal because that's what's surrounding you. But now as I got older, I lived in better cities, better countries, made money, got around higher level thinking people. I'm like, it makes me want to cry sometimes. It's so sad that was normal. And now I live in this nice neighborhood. I can walk down to this park with my daughter and, it's 1 minute away. We go get boba tea and go out to eat. It's like, this is normal, right? But that's how everybody should be living, and this is still happening, right? But there's so many places. Like before I got on this live with you, I donated to your charity on your Instagram, right? To the Islamic Relief. I was in Iraq when Mosul was overtaken, right? And they were throwing people from the wall. So like, have some empathy for what's going on and don't just try to make it out on your own. Understand what's going on in this world that you live in, because there's so much bad stuff that's going on. Try to be a light in the world to help people as much as you possibly can.
100%. That's strong, man. Yeah, man. Boba tea restaurants. Like I live in Orlando, Miami, back and forth. I have two daughters myself. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. In Brooklyn, New York, as you could imagine, back in the 80s, born in 82, it was rough. It's still rough. I mean, parts of Brooklyn, I took my wife and my kids recently to visit, and they were like, oh my God. And sometimes you look at your life now, the blessings we have now, the access to money and trips and restaurants and spending money on our kids. And it's almost, I don't know for you, it makes me feel a little guilty sometimes.
Yeah, that's called like what? Like remorse. Survivor's remorse, right? 100%. I understand. It doesn't make me feel guilty. I do know the feeling that you're talking about, but I feel like I earned it.
You earned it.
I feel like I deserve it. I've never had those issues where some people have like this self-sabotage thing where they're like, I don't deserve this. So then they screw up their own, pardon me. They screw up their own success, right? I've never had that issue. You mentioned trips. Trips is one of the reasons why I work so hard, so I can take my wife on vacation. This hat that I have on, right? Monaco. I posted a picture this morning on my Instagram of us in Monaco. We went out, took a vacation there. Like, it's just an amazing time. I love traveling. I love being able to provide for my family. I don't feel any guilt about it. I still help my family, you know, to this day, with little things here and there. But I mean, it's, if you're giving back and you're operating in your light and you're making sure you're taking care of people,
100%.
That's the feeling I'm chasing.
Insane, man. Insane. Your values, man, are so clear. And that's something I really admire about you, man. Like, keep talking about like being a family man. And you're really focused on that. Talk to me about that, man. You have a beautiful wife, a beautiful daughter. Talk to me how success has played into that. Do you sometimes feel your head kind of goes too big? You're on social media, you're blowing it up with the boys. Like, do you ever come home and your head's too big where I say, yo, Naaman, relax, calm down? Never happened?
Never. And here's why. Right? I make sure that I put my family in a different part than I put all this other stuff. Right. And for this is where I'm angry sometimes, right? For over 10 years, I had no idea about how to make this kind of money, about real estate investing, nothing. This information was not given to me. I was not exposed to it, right? For 10 years, just in the Army, mission, deployment, raising soldiers, doing what I'm supposed to do there. I found this stuff during the pandemic, right? And I to this day, I still have a little bit of anger that I couldn't get access to this stuff earlier. But now I have that information. And now making 7 figures, 8 figures on the mission to become a billionaire, right? Now I have the access to that information. So it's inevitable. And not just me, you, other people. It's inevitable that we will earn 7 and 8 figures. It will happen. This is without a doubt. But it's not just about making 7, 8, 9 figures, becoming a billionaire. This is something I always say to people. Don't just try to be an 8-figure earner. Be an 8-figure father, be an 8-figure husband, be an 8-figure friend, right? So when you ask me, do I have challenges with this with my family? No, because I'll wake up and I'll ask myself, how can I be an 8-figure father today? How can I be an 8-figure husband today? How can I be an 8-figure friend?
I love that. How to be an 8-figure friend, how to become an 8-figure human being, right? Simple as that. Insane. So high school, sister in Ohio, we did.
Cleveland.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you go to college?
No, straight into the Army.
Wow. What made you go to the Army?
A friend of mine had joined the Air Force the year before, my best friend.
Okay.
So it was put on my mind a little bit to join the military. But then I got a job working at a factory where my dad worked. And I knew I didn't want to do that. I knew that wasn't for me. Right. I worked there for a few months still. I needed some money, right? I was trying to make some money. When you're 18, you're just trying to put some money in your pocket. That's what everybody does. So I'm just working there to put some money in my pocket. But after a few months, I was like, I know for a fact that I don't want to do this with my life. I looked around the factory and, you can just kind of see what's going on there. And you're like, this isn't for me. So not only just my friend joining the military, but then knowing I didn't want to do that job, it made it an easy decision to just join the Army. I was like, I'm just going to do something else. And my dad told me this a few years ago. He said, that was a very bold move. He says, not many 17, 18-year-old kids can just decide that and then do it. Yeah. And so I tell myself to this day, I want my life to be a series of bold moves, because that bold move paid off. Moving on from the Army and getting into real estate paid off. Whatever my next bold move is going to be, I know it's going to pay off, because that's how you make money, by taking calculated risks.
How many years in the Army?
Exactly. 13 years.
13 years. Wow. It's a long time.
Oh man, it's a lifetime. It's more. I've got a career that I did for so long. Most people don't do anything for 3 to 5 years. I did one thing for 13 years. That's why I'm telling people I'm very serious about my real estate career. This is not a game for me. This isn't something I'm doing on the side. And
not a project.
Not a project. This is my next career. Yeah. Right? It's real estate.
That's amazing, man. So, name of the countries you went to. You say you went to Turkey?
No, I never went to Turkey. Is that where you're from, right?
My parents are from Pakistan.
Pakistan. I've had some, I grew up around people from Pakistan and Turkey in my school.
Okay.
We had teachers from there.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I used to play ping pong with them. I used to play man, what's
that? Foosball. It's called foosball,
foosball.
right?
Foosball is like, dude, foosball, ping pong. I got really good at those games in high school because my teachers were from Pakistan and Turkey.
Right.
So yeah, I've been around, but the countries I've been to, I've deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan. I lived in Kuwait, and I've done some connecting flights in some other places. But I lived in Korea for a year. I lived in Germany for 3 years and traveled around Europe. So, in that 13 years, I did a lot in the Army.
What did you think of the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and stuff?
I didn't get the vacation so much there.
Yeah.
The only place that I vacationed in the Middle East was Kuwait, and they have the nicest mall that I've ever been to.
Okay.
There's there's a movie theater in there that's just bigger than any movie theater I've ever seen.
Wow.
Right. There's an open part to the mall where you've been to Vegas and you see the sky that's built in. It's really just the sky in Kuwait. So it's probably the biggest mall I've ever seen. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All Muslims, I think, right? In Kuwait, 90%, maybe 10% Christian.
Yeah, it's basically all Muslim. When I went to the Grand Bazaar out there, and it's crazy. You're just shopping, and it's really cool, man. I had a really good time out there with my wife.
You seem like you can kind of blend in. If you put the stuff they wear, the stuff, you probably kind of blend in and out, you know what I mean?
Dude, every country I go to, they think I'm from there. They think I'm from there. We go to DR.
You're Dominican.
Hey, Papi. We go to Egypt. Habibi. We go
100%.
to, you know what I mean? Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah, everybody just thinks I'm from where they're from. It's pretty fun.
How'd you meet your wife?
So we met in Killeen, Texas, where I was stationed in Fort Hood. Her dad was prior service, but she was living in Dallas. So she would come visit her parents, and I met her through a mutual friend in Texas. So then we started dating, and I was driving, 2-3 hours every couple of days to go see her in Dallas. So I spent a lot of time there. That's how I ended up here in Fort Worth in the end.
Awesome. What year was it exactly that you got into real estate?
2020, during the pandemic. That was when I had my investor mindset shift. So I had already owned a couple houses to use my VA loan to buy some when I was in the Army. But I didn't have an investor mindset. I wasn't buying houses for cash flow. I didn't understand. I didn't know what a BRRRR was, or I didn't have any sort of investor education. It was just, I bought houses to live in. So I bought my first house when I was 23 years old, but I didn't buy another house until I was 30, or something like that. Wow. So I didn't, it's pretty funny. A lot of people, they buy houses with this investor mindset, and they get into real estate, and then they keep buying houses. That wasn't my story, right? I bought a duplex in 2014 to house hack. I didn't even, there was no house hack term then. I just knew that I didn't want to pay rent. So I bought a duplex with my VA loan and I lived in one side, rented the other side. That was my real start in real estate investing, but I didn't have the mindset for it. I didn't start educating myself till 2020, right when around this time 3 years ago.
Wow. Insane. How'd you meet Felipe and Diego?
So I got interviewed in August or October, something like that, the end of the year, on the Bigger Pockets Rookie Real Estate podcast, because I was buying houses in Dallas Fort Worth for my barracks room in Germany. So I was doing the BRRRR strategy 5,000 miles away. So I went on the Bigger Pockets Rookie Real Estate podcast and told my story there, and that's how I met Felipe. And then Felipe moved on from that podcast, and they had Rat Race to 5, and I joined that mastermind, and then we started working from there together. So that's how I met Felipe and Diego and Anton.
Well, how much is the portfolio bringing? What's the worth of your portfolio right now, real estate portfolio?
Yeah, right now we're up to about 25 units. I'd have to take a look at exactly what each house is worth today, because
25 units.
Yeah, a year ago these houses were worth a little more than they're worth today, right? So you got to take a look at exactly what everything's worth, but we're buying, flipping houses every week. We're wholesaling houses every week. So the number I say 25. It could be anywhere from 22 to 30 because we're always like moving in and out of deals, selling houses. Yeah, so like 25 is probably about where we're at right now.
Insane. Dude, insane. In 2 years, 2020, we met in 2021. It's 2023, 3 years, man. You bought 25 homes. Give or take, give or take.
So when we first met, I had already had about 15 of them. Wow. Because whenever I first started burning houses, that's all I did. All I did was the burst strategy for the first year of real estate investing. And then the market changed. And that's whenever I decided to educate myself on wholesale. Right, because we couldn't find no more good deals. All the good deals were gone. I was like, I can't keep doing what I'm doing because everyone's selling everything too high. So that's when I had to change my strategy. And that's when I found Gonzalo down at ｃច្ចឿцЖ and decided, hey, that was who I was going to learn some more of the game from. Because I was trying to wholesale on my own. And I sucked at it.
Really?
I was like, I gotta find somebody to educate me because I didn't have a phone sales background, right? I didn't have any sales background at all. All I knew was how to run numbers on deals, right? But that's like the best thing to know how to do outside of sales, right? So once I learned sales and I put that together with wholesaling, I mean, it was just at that point then it was easy because most people have the problem of they have sales but have no idea how to do real estate. These guys know how to do real estate but have no sales. Right. So when you can do both, dude, there's no deal that you can't attempt to close and get a great deal on.
Close, yeah. Diego's a good guy. What's his name? His brother at the ｃច្ចឿцЖ.
Gonzalo.
He's a good guy.
The orszá brothers are my favorite brothers in real estate, dude. I love those.
Seriously,
I love
man.
those.
I mean, humble dudes, man. You know, both of them, I mean, the parents did a great job raising them, because today's day and age, you probably see a lot of people with money. And a lot of them could be a-holes, man. A lot of people's money can go one way or another, but those guys have good humility. Mm-hmm. Okay, so wholesale, talk about wholesaling. So I heard on the Bradley podcast, you offer a coaching program. Talk about that. How does that work?
Yeah, so wholesaling, I mean, for guys that don't know what wholesaling is, it's sales and marketing. All right. Yeah. So it's marketing to off-market properties or sometimes on-market, right? But mainly this is directed and geared towards off-market properties, right? You're trying to find distressed homes, stuff like that, to sell to another investor. So you'll market, and it could be cold calling, it could be texting, it could be running ads, right? It could be just getting data and figuring out ways to contact a homeowner. Once you contact that homeowner, you want to get that house for as cheap as humanly possible. As cheap as humanly possible. I'm going to keep it real cool and direct with your audience here. Thanks for letting me share this platform with you. You want to get that property for as cheap as possible. And then you want to sell it for as much as humanly possible. And when I say sell it, I mean the contract. You want to assign the contract that you sign with the seller to someone that wants to buy it and make money on it for as much money as possible, because that's how you get paid. That's how you get paid. And I want people to understand, I want everybody to make dough, like real dough. So you need to get these properties cheap and you need to sell them for as much as you can. All right. And that's when a sales process comes into place, understanding how to have a conversation. And you can still, people need help, man. These properties, people need help. So it's not like you're just out here ripping people off. They don't have another option. No one else called them. They don't know what to do. That's where you're coming into play. You can still help that person. Some of these people are going to lose their house. Yeah. Or you could buy it from them and give them some money, and you can make money. Everybody can make money here.
Yeah.
And that's why I love wholesaling, because it gives everybody the opportunity to make money. People that just get started, people that don't have no money, people that have no education. Wholesaling is that opportunity for people to make money that have no background. Yeah. You need money to flip. You need money to buy and hold houses, right? You don't need any money to wholesale necessarily.
So technically saying, you need zero, you don't need a license to be an agent like I am, my real estate, my day job right now is real estate agent and team leader. I had to invest in a license, study, go to school, pass the test, and start my business. Wholesale, none of that. Barriers to entry are very low. Literally, you need to have the will, the mindset, and the hunger.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to understand a little bit of sales. And,
yeah. Sales and marketing, 100%.
But all of that you can find on YouTube. Not saying you'd be great at it, right? But you could at least get the general idea and concept.
100%. I don't know if you follow Patrick, but David. He's a entrepreneur. He talks about how his education was getting 20 books on sales, 20 best books on marketing, branding, operations, finance. And he goes, just anyone who's out there and struggling, he goes, I challenge you, go to Amazon and get the highest rating book for that topic and read it. And read 20, 30 of them. If you don't change after 2 years, I'll pay for those books. He was that's passionate about it.
I listen to a lot of Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn says, like, he goes, the most successful people in the world, they write a book and they put all the information in the book, exactly how to do it, their exact process and story and how they made millions of dollars. And you won't go read it. You try to invent a new way to do it.
You're right.
It's already been done. Just go pick up. Like, so the guy I think is the best at selling stuff. And I just discovered this guy this year.
Yeah.
Is my friend Andy Elliott.
Yeah.
Here's his book. Am I reading it? Right? It's like, I want to get better at sales. I'm already freaking really good. But I want to get better. So I found a guy that's freaking awesome. He's like one of the best I've seen. Love his energy, love his team, right? Emulate the people that you've seen that you want to be like, that you want their lifestyle, that you want exactly what they've got going on. Emulate it. Another Jim Rohn thing, he says, all the words have already been said and they said it better than you. It's okay to use the same words that people use. But what he said was, add a little style, right? I can say, dude, me and you we could read the same paragraph, but we won't sound the same saying it back to somebody, right? Because we have our own style, right? You got a blazer on, I got a freaking Monaco hat. Like, 100%. We could read the same thing, we can make the same sale.
Yeah.
And we'll say it completely two different ways.
Yeah, 100%. And your swag comes out of it, right? I mean, and your past experiences will come out in your voice and your enunciation, the way you do your pauses. Let's go back to wholesale 1 second. So I'm a seller.
Sure. I get fired up about sales, dude.
Okay, I have a house. It needs some work. Can I call my real estate agent and say, hey, Joe, come and list my house, man? I can.
You could.
Okay.
You could, right? But then you're gonna have to pay the commissions, the fees, the closing costs, right? When they go find a buyer.
Sure.
And so sometimes that's not appealing to somebody. And the process, right? Of multiple people walking through. Hey, we got to set an appointment. Hey, we might have to fix some of this stuff to sell it, right? All that's not appealing to people. They want the easy button, right? They want the easy button. I'll call and say, hey, we waive all of that and I'll give you this much. And they're like, you know what? I don't want anybody walking through. This place is crazy. I don't want anyone to see this. This is embarrassing, right? I don't want to pay any commissions or fees on this property. I don't want to deal with another person. I'd like to just do this over the phone.
Over and done.
And that's what's appealing to people. And that's why they sell us their houses every day, because that's a way of doing business, right? Now, our offer is not going to be as high as your offer. It's just not. That's the facts. If you want the most money, KB needs to list your house. Don't call me if you want the most money, but call me if you want the easy way out of this.
Fast as money.
Fast as money.
Right now.
Week, 2 weeks, done. Right? versus like, hey, 30, 45 days, we got some offers, we're waiting to hear back from some other people, we're waiting on an inspection and appraisal to come back, see if the city is going to actually allow us to sell the property. We got a lot of red tape going on with this. FHA is not going to approve it because of these fixes that need to be done. So we can't actually sell to that person, even though they had a great offer. Don't matter. Hey, I'll take it just how it sits, but this is how much I can pay for it.
Insane. Listen, you got the house, their money in a week time?
Yeah, I bought a house in 3 days one time. It already had clear title. On it. And we were able to just come in, we had a clear close 3 days out. We already had the funds. Done deal. People call us all the time because people will back out of deals. They'll back out of deals and they're like, hey, we still need this money. Like, this was contingent on us selling this to buy another house.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when we come in and it's like, hey, you already got clear title. Okay, well, here's our price. Can you make that work? Yes. Done.
Yeah. So the question for you is, do you do phone calls yourself or do you have REI call center doing it?
Both. Listen, brother, I love putting on this headset. I love getting on the phone and locking deals up through this headset right here.
Wow.
Right here. The thing right there fits like a glove. Right. So I'll still call myself because I do a lot of sales training with people. I've got 3 sales trainings today with people. They love doing sales training with me because they're going to learn a sales process, how to overcome objections, their pitch and their tone, how to navigate through a conversation, make an offer that makes sense for everybody. They love doing sales training. Right.
Wow.
So I stay on the phone consistently because what kind of trainer would I be if I haven't made a phone call in 6 months? The market changed. The tone and the bass in the voice of the sellers have changed.
Yeah.
Right. It's so how can I keep up with the current market if I'm not on the phone too? I'm not saying I need to dial 8 hours a day, but I do need to understand what the conversations are sounding like. And I need to be constantly improving and sharpening my sword and talking to people, writing down new objections that I dealt with, how to overcome them. I want to deliver the best sales training, not just a sales training.
So right now you have a system laid out.
Correct.
Does
So
wholesaling ever have a high season, low season like real estate sales do?
100%. 100%. When the market's doing great, wholesaling's doing better. Yeah, because then it's just like, you see the volume of cash deals, right, in your county. It goes up when the market's doing good.
Yeah.
Right. And when it's doing bad, the transactions in your county goes down. So ours is the same. We're less than 10% of the transactions that happen in each county. Most of the deals are done on market, right? But if there's like, let's say Miami, I don't even know, probably like 60,000 transactions a month. I don't know if you know that data or not, but that means that we would be about, less than 6,000 of those transactions. But that's a lot of transactions.
That's true.
And that's a month.
That's in a month.
It's in a month. So there's lots of transactions that are happening. They're just not happening with your ass, right? Like that people are still buying and selling houses all the time. But depending on how the market's doing, depends on the state of the wholesale business. All right. So the last couple of years, wholesaling was so easy. That's why I got into it. I never really wanted to be a wholesaler. I wanted to buy and hold houses. That's how I started. I wanted cash flow and appreciation, right?
Investor, simple.
That's my Instagram, Naaman Taylor Investor, not Naaman Taylor Wholesaler, right? Yeah. I got into wholesaling because I looked at what everybody was doing, who was making the most dough, who looked like they were having the most fun, right? It's always the wholesalers and then the realtors, right? It's never the landlords. You don't see the landlords like, hey, I'm just here sharing my story. I got 15 units. I'm getting cash flow. You don't see that ever, right? They're miserable. We buy houses from tired landlords, right? So I knew I needed to be a landlord, but I also looked and saw who was having the most fun, right? Who was doing the most deals, who looked like me, and who was making actually making dough, right? So when I got into wholesaling, that was part of why I got into it. One, because I couldn't find no more deals, and two, I wanted to see who was making the dough and who was looking like they were having fun. And I had flipped a bunch of houses too. And flipping is always good. Flipping's always good. You can always make money flipping houses. Doesn't matter the market. Doesn't matter the market, right? That's how you make the most money. in my opinion, in the short term. You make more money flipping than wholesaling, but you got to have some money to flip.
You have to have capital.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have a little bit of dough, right?
Yeah.
To flip.
Yeah. What's a little bit for you?
So each deal on average here in Dallas Fort Worth, we need about 40 grand to do a flip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Okay.
So if you got 500K, you can have about 12 deals going.
Wow. Wow. So I like to talk about people's habits. Because for me, 40 years old, man, I've been up and down my life, and I look back the ups and the
Well, you
downs.
look good. You look good.
Appreciate you, brother. I look at the time frames of my life and say, wait a minute, my habits were horrible, but my habits here are good. That's why I did good. And I believe habits makes a person successful. What's your daily habits? What time do you wake up every morning?
Yeah, great question. So earlier you asked me what childhood things helped me as an adult in the Army. What happened in the Army helps me here as an investor. Every day for the last, since I was 18, so 14 years, basically, almost 15 years, I've basically woken up at 6 a.m. every day or earlier. Or earlier, 5 a.m., right? Because I used to do my workouts at 6 a.m. So we get up at 5. So I've been up every day, basically my whole adult life between 5 and 6 a.m., right? And I continue to do that to this day. To this day, right? Up, work out early in the morning, get it out of the way, hardest part of my day, it's over.
Insane.
Right? And that way at 8, 9 o'clock, I'm doing a podcast, I can bring the energy off the rip. Boom, I already did my workout. Right? I'm already here. I'm already fired up. I'm already ready to hop on the phones, train my team, whatever it is I got on the calendar, right? Train people on sales, whatever it is, then they're going to get this every day. They're going to get this. And it starts with that daily habit of waking up early, getting that workout in.
Do you have your next day task the day before or the week before?
Some of it's off of a week, but because I have a calendar that I go off of, right? So some of it's off of a week, but each night, hold on, I'm not gonna lie. Most nights, right? I'll look and see what I got going on tomorrow and figure out what I didn't get done today that I need to put on the calendar tomorrow.
Mm.
So I'm not gonna come on here and tell everybody, every night before I go to bed, I say my prayers, I write in my journal, I drink water, I meditate for 45 minutes, and then I write down the next day's goals. Yeah. Those guys are on a different level, man.
Sure.
All right. I can't. I'm hanging out with my daughter. She don't go to bed at the same time every night. So I'm hanging out with my baby. I try to spend a little time with my wife, right? I work so hard. So I make sure at the end of the day, I try to watch at least like an episode of something with my wife or a game or hang out with her. You know what I mean? So I'm not just going over tomorrow's goals every single night. But I do throughout the day try and, I know I'm not going to get that done. Like today, I have a big meeting at 8:30 p.m. and I have a lot of deliverables for my friends that I'm doing business with. So I need to get a lot done today. But I wrote it all down.
All the things are written down, right?
What's written down is real.
Okay.
What's written down is real. So even when I do my sales training, I don't just type the objections down and then give them to you, because it's not real. Right? I'm going to say it. You're going to write it down. You're going to say it back to me, and then we're going to practice. Repetition is the mother of perfection. So what's written down is real and then repeatable. So if you can repeat it, you can make it perfect.
Insane. That's insane. Repetition is the key, man. You're 100% right. You believe in the law of attraction? What you put in your mind, right? You put intention. And you have to put the work. Brad Lee, your buddy, he talked about all the time. One thing to sit there and meditate and pray, but that's part of it. Then you have to put the work in, the phone call, and the universe, or I believe as in God, will come halfway and say, yeah, you put your halfway, here's the opportunity. Here's Naaman, here's Felipe, here's a next door neighbor who will sell their home. Did that work for you? Have you ever practiced?
Yeah, I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in that. That's why I keep putting myself in more rooms and doing more PR stuff and more podcasts, all that. I'm like, just keep doing this stuff, because you don't know who you're going to meet that's going to make you your next $1 million. That's
Or
your
a
next.
viewer, someone's gonna watch this interview and have your email information on the bottom and in your IG and boom, and that's how things happen, right?
I'm telling you, brother, one of the reasons that I keep doing these podcasts, I don't make any money, right, by jumping on here and sharing all this with you. I do it because I told you for 10 years, I had no idea. And I'm angry about it. I'm like, everyone needs to know. It's not fair that I didn't know about this for so long.
Wow.
I had no idea. I just did this thing in Las Vegas with David Meltzer. We shot a TV show.
He's amazing. I want to ask you about that. Yeah.
And I look at the dudes in this room, guys making tens of millions of dollars a year.
Insane.
I'm like, all this has been going on the whole time. But no one told me. I had no idea none of this was happening. We're inside the Wynn shooting TV, the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas shooting a TV show. And there's like just athletes and entertainers and multi-million-dollar company owners all just hanging out, helping each other get to the next level. I made some great connections there, right? But I didn't know those rooms existed. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get on here and I'm just going to freaking tell everybody that everything I got going on. That's why when you asked me to begin the show, anything you want to talk about, I want to talk about all of it because everyone needs to know what's happening. They need this information. They need to know about real estate investing that can change their life so they don't have to go to the job that they don't want to go to. They don't got to deploy to Iraq or Afghanistan to make more money. You don't have to do that. You can literally invest in real estate and make way more money. There were months where I made my salary on assignments. It's ridiculous. Money it's here. We live in America. This is an abundant place. You just need the information.
That's it.
So that's why I keep sharing this. Jim Rohn, he says part of his responsibility, rest in peace. Part of his responsibility was sharing his story so that you might find some things that I'm saying that could change your life, inspire you to be better, help you self-develop, improve your lifestyle. That's why I keep doing these. So I'm like, you know what? Jim was right. I don't know what kid is or even grown man or old man is looking at me and you doing this and they're like, that information helped me. And then it's the butterfly effect from there. I got to see one episode of Bigger Pockets and that was boom, the gas on the fire to this point.
The catalyst that just put the fuel, so to speak. Jim Rohn is amazing, man. I heard Tony Robbins talks about him. Patrick talks about him. David Messler, man, that was amazing. That's why I asked you about that. That was like, it wasn't an interview. That was a mastermind, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was a TV show interview type of thing. But real quick about, I love Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is the guy that all those guys learned everything from.
Everyone talks about him.
So like when you see all these other dudes, if you study Jim and you listen to the rest of these dudes, they just change up. It's exactly what Jim said, right? Make it your own. They just change a couple words. Tony Robbins is one of the main ones. When I hear something that he said, I go, that's Jim Rohn, just with Tony 100%. Robbins flavor, right? That's 100%. All that is, right? So, don't feel like you're ripping off people's stuff. Say it. Yeah. People need to hear it. And they're gonna listen. Maybe they don't even know. They don't know who Jim Rohn was, so they get it from Tony, right? Dude. Some people don't know who Tony is, so they get it from me. You see what I'm saying? Like your platform, how you share it, everyone's gonna be attracted to a different type of person. So say the stuff because they need to hear it. But yeah, that's it. But
I've got so much from you that I'm probably going to share with my team, my wife's an investor, and you're 100% right. The thing that, man, I love about you, man, you're very big into sharing. You're already abundant mindset, and it seems like you're here to just provide value. And as a vessel, you want to share everything that you've gone through to be successful with the world. Which is big, man. But a lot of people don't do that. It's abundant mindset you have, and God bless you for doing that. I'm gonna wrap it up here. So another question I have for you was I forgot. Oh, the Bradley show. We have a PR person.
Yeah, I was working with a PR. I was working with a PR company. Dude, I had no idea how to do anything. I was just in the Army, bro. I'm like, how do I how do I get on a bigger platform to share my story?
Sure.
Right. I'm like, so, you know, we got to do some press, got to do some podcasts, understood what a website needed to look like, how to, you know, get on this YouTube algorithm, how to fix my Instagram, like so everybody could understand. You know, you don't want no janky stuff. No one gonna listen to you. You're gonna hear like your message could be the best, but if it doesn't look good, people scroll right past you. You're not gonna click
100%.
it. They're not gonna click it. So I hired somebody to help me figure out how to make it look better, so that people will actually be able to digest the message.
I'm sure that wasn't cheap.
No, it was not cheap at all. It wasn't cheap at all. But if you look at it, you know, I like to prove the point more. Nobody wants a pineapple just straight plucked, right? And that's what my message was before I got into PR and personal branding. It's just this pineapple. It hurts your hands to hold it. It's hard. You know, you got to beat it to get to the fruit.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was before I got into branding and PR. But as soon as I got into branding and PR, boy, I was a pineapple smoothie. You want that, right? You want that handed to you. You're like, and that's what that is. Now you got a pineapple smoothie. You're like, this is great. I love this. I can digest this all day. I can drink this all day. You know, that's awesome. I'm going to use that in future podcasts and stuff, because that's the first time I said that. Right. That's the first time I've said that. But that is exactly what it was. That was the importance of branding yourself and building a personal brand and hiring somebody to help you.
Sure.
Because dude, I was just raw material, right? I was very malleable, but I was just raw material before I got into branding.
Amazing. Man, well, I saw you in Bradley. I'm a huge fan, follower, what you want to call it. That dude is amazing. He's
Dropping
amazing.
bombs.
Dropping bomb. That's his thing. Where are you located?
Brad?
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah.
So I actually went to Pineda's event. Anton and them were sponsoring the event. So I flew out to hang out with those guys. We did Pineda's event. And then on the back end, I went and did the Bradley podcast, and Diego actually sat in the studio with me on the couch. I invited him out to it because I love that dude, you know? So I invited Diego out to that, and he sat in there, took some pics with Brad, and we talked to Brad for a couple hours. So it was a really cool experience with some of my friends.
That's awesome. Pineda, man, Ryan Pineda, you do business with Ryan Pineda?
Not yet. Not yet.
Almost there.
Well,
it's done, dude. It's already done.
He was at Dave's office. He was one of the co-hosts at Dave's office. So this was a really cool moment for me. Two guys I look up to in the space a lot is Ryan Pineda and Pace Morby, right? And I got to stand in the room during Pace's interview, right? There was only like eight or nine of us in there. The co-host, couple camera guys, the director, and myself. And so I got to hang out in there, listen to Dave and Pineda and a few other people interview Pace. And so two of the guys I really look up to in this industry, I'm like, this is a really cool moment for me. So I really enjoyed that.
That's insane. That's insane. Awesome. What a journey, man. Naaman, I'm telling you, man, I was so excited. I'm so excited. I'm going to put this on. By the way, there'll be a part 2. We'll be sitting together. Podcast, mics, the old school podcast. Zoom is something we can do right now, the vehicle. We're in a different stadium state, but I'm going to come where you are. I'm going to sit with you, man. I want to dive into more stuff with you in the future. Man, awesome stuff, man. God bless you. Like I said, man, you have a beautiful family. You're doing beautiful work for people. Like I think and I'll say this once again, I think your branding, you have this cool look, and I think in wholesaling, most never see a wholesaler with a nice chain and a bonnet hat on, right? You don't see that. You're very smart that you're doing your own branding and you're on the right channels. I think this is the beginning for you, man. I see big things for you.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for letting me share all this stuff, right? I don't rehearse for any of this stuff, man. I just come on here, share my truth, have a conversation with the host, man. So I appreciate you for having me on here. Let me talk to your audience and using your platform to just share my story again, because that's the mission that I'm on right now.
Where can we find? I'm gonna put your information at the bottom. Where can we find you typically? On IG?
Yeah, Instagram is the best place. I answer all the DMs. That's where I'm gonna get back to most people at. So it's at Naaman Taylor Investor, and just follow me there. Shoot me a DM. Set up a free meeting. I do free meetings with people all week. That's why I say I live off my calendar. You just book a time and we can chat and see how I can help you. if we can do business together.
You do wholesaling, you're a real estate investor, and you do coaching program to help other people. If I want to become a wholesaler, and I can do it by myself, but time and effort and mistakes, or I can invest some money with you, and you'll teach me from A to Z how to succeed in wholesaling.
Yeah, and I also host a call every Tuesday. I have a real estate community. It's over 100 investors inside this community. We basically just get together a mastermind, and I bring on high-level guests each week that can either help you with mindset, whatever systems and softwares, or some sort of program, right? So some of these guys, I've had the best people in the industry on my call. Some of my mentors I brought on, Kent Clothier, Robert Vasquez. I've had Andy Elliott on my call this year, right? So some of the people I really look up to, I reach out and say, hey, can you come talk to my community, right? Because I want them to get the same thing that I got from you, and inspire them, get their training, get what I got from them, right? So every Tuesday we get together. Last night we did it. We did over 3 hours on the call, just pouring into one another. Our guest was amazing. So we had a great time doing that last night. So if you want, join the group, hit me up for coaching, hit me up for training, whatever it is, or if you just want to get some advice, book a free call.
Amazing. Well, Naaman Taylor, thank you so much for coming on once again, man. A pleasure to have you on here. Part 2 will come one day soon. I'll give you a call when I have to get the mics and everything ready. And wherever you are, we're gonna sit down and do a more free form podcast. But thank you so much for everything, man.
Dude, it was an honor and a privilege.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on. Thank you.
Later.
Bye.